For your final project, you'll be required to create a full presentation composed of a total of at least 15 slides on a topic of your choice. Ideally, it should be on a skill, talent, or hobby that you have. So you will use PowerPoint to train us on that skill or topic. This can be on anything that you're most familiar with. For me, I've chosen a hobby. So as you can see here, I've created an overview, a skeleton of the presentation. Since I like to fish, you'll see my title slide contains basically a headline of what I'll be covering. You probably do also want to include your name as well. So as you can see, there is no formatting in the beginning. I will just populate my slides. And don't forget to include an agenda. That is critical. You want to develop a good habit. So any good or professionally designed presentation should have an agenda. Whether it's hosting a webinar, holding a meeting, or teaching a lecture, you want to have that agenda for your attendees or participants. Then based on the agenda, you'll see your slides will follow that structure. So as you can see, the first item that I cover is the different types of fishing. So I'll have a slide dedicated to that. On my agenda, you'll see I have gear, locations, and catch. So I've set them up in advance just like that. You'll also notice that I have notes in the bottom portion here in the notes pages section. So it's important that you script your presentation in advance. So I set up the first couple of slides like this. You will follow this format. So be sure to include a script in the notes pages section of your presentation. After you set up each slide, what I'm really going to look for is, as far as content, it should be more image heavy than text. So it's okay to have bullet points on each slide, but ideally you should have images throughout. What I've done here is I've set up I only have 6 total slides, but I will incorporate a lot of different images, and that will build this out. So remember, you need a minimum of 15 slides for your final project. And then once you incorporate the notes, the images, the content, the text, you then go back and format it. All right, so you're going to choose a design or a theme right here. You see there are a lot of themes to choose from, and again, it is your choice. So first you'll incorporate the images, and at the very end you'll apply the theme. And then in between you will have transitions. So let's pretend for a moment I've completed the text portion of development. So I have all the text that I need. I'm now ready to start integrating images. So let's start first with this slide here. All right, so there are a number of ways to insert images. And again, if you look at the insert ribbon, you can go down here to pictures. And now for you, if you're going to be talking about a hobby, I encourage you to take photos using your digital camera, your smartphone, what have you, a digital camera, and then use that in your presentation. If you prefer, you could also just go online and find relevant images. But for me, I've actually captured photos. So I am just going into my pictures folder, and then I'll go into the subfolder here, and you'll see that there are 3 types of fishing: kayak, bow, and shore. So I'm going to incorporate 3 images that I have on those topics, just like this. All right, close this. So there's a shore fishing image, there's a kayak, the kayak that I use, and an image of the bow. You'll also be required to animate either your bullets and your images. Now, you're not required to animate every single slide, but I do want to see that you know how to do this. So let's animate the bullet points. I'll animate the images later. So to do that, you select the placeholder for your text, and this is just a review of what you've learned already. You go to the animations ribbon, And I'll just choose fly in as an example. So there's an example of animation. For gear, if I want to share the different types of gear that I use, again, you could insert images through here, or if you use this particular layout, there is a button here to import images as well. So as far as gear, I'm just going to choose a couple of, or a few of these reels. Close that. Just spread them out a little bit. And then you could animate those as well. So if I want to animate this first one here, I'll have this one float in. I'll have this one fly in. I'll have this show up as a wheel. So a shortcut to replicate a slide, since I do have more to discuss on gear, I'm just going to click on this slide and hit Control D for duplicate. And by doing that, you'll see I have a copy of this first slide. But instead of reels, now I want to talk about rods. So again, if I click on the Insert Pictures button, now I'll just select the images for my various fishing rods. I'll insert those. And then I could just call this rods, and I'll call this one reels. So as far as gear goes, I have 2 slides just on that. And the different places I like to fish. Again, you'll see that I'm keeping this really text light, and I'll be using a lot of images because remember, PowerPoint is a visual aid, and you'll be using it to elaborate on the various images in this case that you're using. So as far as locations, I have maps. So let's start with Baby Beach here, and let's make this a little smaller just so that I could see both. So there's a map of Baby Beach and an actual image of the location. And again, you want to use a shortcut because it will save you time. There are actually different locations. So what I'm going to do is replicate this slide by clicking on it here and hitting Control D as in duplicate 2 more times, because there are 3 different locations I will be discussing. The next one is going to be Huntington Harbor. There it is. Let's make this a bit smaller so we can see the map. And then my final location will be Newport Beach. And then finally my catch. Now, since I'll be sharing quite a few images of the fish that I've caught, I'm just going to hit Control D in advance, as I do have quite a few of these to share. Let's do one more to make it 15. So for the first one, let's go with about trout. So you get the idea. Eventually, I'm going to have at least 15 slides containing content, whether it's images, bullet points, what have you. You want to be able to have a minimum of 15 slides to discuss in your presentation. And I'll use both methods. I've been using this, but remember, you could also click on Insert Picture and get to the same area. And now I just have 2 more to do. But you get the idea. You want to populate this presentation with as many images as you can that relate to your topic. After doing that, the next step, let me get this one more time, is to apply a design or a theme. So you go to the Design tab, select a theme. I'm going to be conservative and choose about this nice blue background. And you'll see it's a very simple theme. Oh, you may have to make adjustments if there's, sometimes they'll throw the images off, but you do want to fix these if that happens. Okay, everything else looks good. Oh, there we go. This one's a bit low, so you want to bring it up. So fix any formatting discrepancies that appear. And then finally apply your transitions. I'm just going to choose, I want to apply transitions to the entire presentation. So I'm going to switch to slide sorter view down here. And then select everything by hitting Control A, selecting my entire presentation. And then just selecting a transition. I'll just choose about something exciting, like the wind. And I don't like that one. How about curtains? Oh yeah, there we go. So you'll see here that if I were to launch my presentation, that effect, that transition, will appear on every slide. See that? Again, you want to remember, I'm going to go back to notes, to normal view. You want to have notes in the notes pages section for every slide. And then you want to apply animation sparingly, whether it's text or images. You don't have to do them on every single slide, but be selective. All right, so let's say I don't want to animate any of the maps, but I do want to animate my images. So I could select this again, go to animations. Let's choose a different one this time. How about bounce? We'll do that later. But you can do that sparingly. Let's do another one here. We'll apply animation. Let's try wipe. Yep. Let's choose one more. And let's do swivel. There we go. And really that's it. So remember, you're just creating a presentation on a skill, talent, or hobby that you possess. You want to make the presentation text light, image heavy, import images throughout the presentation, apply a theme, animations, and don't forget to script it out by putting notes into the notes pages section. You'll submit this via Canvas to me for final review. And that's really it. So use this as your guide for that final project, and feel free to contact me for any questions or concerns you may have.